Guys, welcome back to another tutorial, and we've got another image sent in. So we're trying to achieve a really purple tone throughout the entire image, lots of pink tones, lots of vibrance. So we're going to have to bring up those shadows to create the really bright, vibrant look, bring down the highlights and whites to create the flat look, and then bring down the curves a little for that flat look also. And then if I just show you her Instagram, if we get over here, we'll just have a quick look at her style. So if we come down, we'll be able to see the image we'll be working with, this one right here. So she's sent this into me, and yeah, as you can see, really beautiful tones. And yeah, we need to, like I said, create flatness to the image. So you can really see it in this image, for example, as those whites back there don't stand out that much. They're very flat, so that means we've got to bring down the highlights and whites, as I said. But yeah, I'll explain all that in the edit, guys. If you guys come up here, go give her a follow down in the description. I'll put all their links down there, and she actually offers a lot of awesome stuff for you guys. So there's presets and course. So if we just click here, and if you come over here, you can check out the personal branding course. And if you come down, if you're an aspiring blogger, creative, freelancer, small business, and you want to create a personal brand a lot like she has, this could be good for you. So I'll be linking it down in the description if you want to come over and check it out. Also, if we come up here, you can check out her presets. So if you really like her style and you want a whole lot of presets just like hers, come over here, links will be down in the description, and you can come check them out, see if you like them, check out some before and afters. So if we just get back to her Instagram, yeah, we're going to be working with this shot right here. Beautiful tones, lots of pinks, lots of purples. So definitely going to put purples in the shadows sometimes, and definitely putting a bit in the highlights as well. And I just want to talk a bit about the settings to achieve the shot, because a lot of you guys are always interested in those. So this is a shot we're working with. It was shot on a Nikon 5300 on a Nikon 18 to 55 version 2. And then as for settings, 18 millimeters, so pretty wide, f5.6, so that's going to get the entire shot in focus. So as you can see, the foreground here is pretty in focus. She's very sharp, and even the background is pretty sharp there. So a high f-stop there, getting pretty much the entire image in focus. ISO of 640, no need to bump it up because it's so bright. And then a really high shutter speed of 4000 because it's so bright. We need a quick shutter speed to expose the image correctly, not let much light in there. So that's all the settings covered. Let's jump into Lightroom, see if we can create something pretty awesome like this. Okay, getting into this tutorial, let's start by bringing up the exposure here. Let's really add in some contrast, and now let's work on taking a lot of this contrast out. So we want to do things like really soften up the highlights back here. As you can see, they're really harsh. Let's drop those. It's because we brought the contrast up, but I just want the contrast there for now because it will just make gets us a little closer to where we want to be, and then we can work with these and soften it up. So as you can see, we're a bit harsh in the brighter areas. So we'll bring down the highlights, and we're still a bit harsh there. Bring down the whites, and then you get that softness to the highlights there. We want a really bright, vibrant feeling to our image. So that's when you want to bring up the shadows. Getting rid of the shadows gives the bright feeling to your image, a warmer feeling, even though you're not adding any warmth. Less shadows sort of just gives the feeling of a brighter environment. Blacks, so we don't want our dark blacks to be too dark, and that also will help give us that really bright feeling. And yeah, because we brought our contrast up so much and the exposure up so much, it meant we could drop our highlights and whites by so much and give this real flatness to the image. And to also give this flatness to the image, we want to do a little bit in the curves. We won't add in any contrast with the curves because we've done it with the contrast slider here. But this image since it's quite flat, you don't have to use curves. So for this one, we're just gonna do a drop in the whites here. And you can see how this gives that flatness, if not like a matte look to the image. And we just want to do that to the highlights. And what that does, it can like just get rid of the digital look to your image, or just make it look a bit smoother and softer. So I'll just do that, a bit of a fade. It's not really noticeable, but it just takes out the real harshness of the whites and just makes the image look smoother and softer. Okay, we might just quickly drop some saturation down in here. Just so we're not too saturated. And then we want to bring up the vibrance. So the vibrance will just affect like the brighter colors a bit more, and the midtones a little bit more, and sort of just does what it says it does. Makes it a bit more vibrant. Going to dehaze the image. It's also going to add in quite a bit of contrast and saturation. The dehaze, it's kind of like bringing the shadows and the highlights down. But yeah, in some situations you can't, like right now, you can't bring the highlights down anymore. So I'm just gonna keep that about there. Might come back down to saturation. Just drop the blues. Okay, so we need to work on starting to get our purple tones. So how we're going to get the purple tones, well, before we do that, we want to add a little bit of warmth to the image. So I'm going to add just about 1,000 of warmth to the entire image. And now let's come down. We are going to get some purple tones by adding them in the shadows here. So let's just grab that. Now there's not many shadows in this image, so you won't see much of a change. Only if you lift it very high. But at 10, since there's not many shadows at all in this image, you're not going to really notice it. But very subtle in those slightly darker areas, they will be there. And while we're here, we will do a little bit of orange and teal split. Drop the saturation of that, and then saturation of all the reds. Come down. Okay, so let's come up to HSL or split toning. We just want to, actually before we do that, we need to enable profile corrections and remove chromatic aberration. So profile corrections gets rid of that distortion from the lens. Let's go to split toning. Now this image is mainly highlights. Like I said before, there's very little shadows. So the purple tones we put in the shadows didn't really affect the image very much. So how we're going to get these purple tones is grab this purple way over here. It's almost a red, and we'll just put some in the highlights. And that's looking good. We just need to probably just do HSL now to get the right tones. So if we just come to HSL, let's start shifting some of these colors. So let's start with maybe the purples. Not many purples in this image, but we definitely want them to be this nice reddish color. There's not many in this, but if they were, we would want to shift them in that direction. Magenta. There, let's try the reds. So we want the reds to be this purple. As you can see, that really affects the flower and her shirt there. So we obviously want to go in this direction towards the purple. Go about there. Oranges, we probably want to do the same. So we want to keep the entire image towards a purple color scheme. Yellows, we will do this exact same. So we're going to warm up these yellows. So you can sort of see that by this area right here. You need them to be nice and warm. Aquas, so the water isn't affected by the aquas, so we'll just leave that about there. But as you can see, we need this greeny blue. We've got this deep, almost a purple blue. So these blues here, we need to go in this direction to get a bit more of a teal. Magenta, maybe pull that back to about there. And now saturations are a bit too harsh, so we need to really flatten that out. So we need to drop a few of these. So these reds definitely, because the reds are the pinks at the moment because we shifted them so close to the purples up there. Let's drop them. Oranges, so that's like the skin tones and a few other things. Okay, now we're getting really close. The greens, especially if you go by looking at what her other images were, drop them. Aquas, just leave them there. Bit more blues. Just trying to match it up. Okay, so we are looking really close now. I just want to do a little more in the luminance. So again, we want this bright feeling to the image. So you need to, we don't need to, but this really helps bring up the luminance, since the luminance of the reds is affecting the purples because we made them purple up here. Let's just give them a little bit of a pop. So luminance is the brightness of colors. So we want to add brightness to the pinks, in this case the reds. Now we want to do this to almost all of our colors. You can see how we can give those. So if I just zoom in right there, you can see that we have a green there. And then over in ours, it's a lot darker. It's very small, but these are the tiny things I'm looking at when I'm trying to match up images. You can see we just want to lift it up a lot. That's going to give brightness to those greens, giving a more vibrant feeling to the image. And we want to do this to most of the colors. You definitely want to do it to the aquas. You can see how the aquas, if I just go back and forth, they are the brighter blues. So it's very subtle, but I want to lift them up a lot because they're the brighter blues you want nice and bright. So it will give a pop to the blues, but you don't want your blues too bright. It starts to look unnatural. You want to keep them nice and deep. But because you keep these nice and deep, you can bring these up a lot and it will still look natural. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't think I did the best job explaining that. And then purples, again, we'll bring this up because we want that nice vibrant pop to the image, especially in the purples. We don't have many purples in this. It's sort of like fringing the edges there. But in different images, there will be purples, and we definitely want them really nice and bright. Same with magenta. We'll lift them up just a bit. And we are looking pretty good. Pretty sure that's everything. We want to do sharpening. We'll bring that down because this is a really, really smooth look she has to her images. And then the last thing is noise reduction. So images can look quite digital, and this is sort of a pro tip to add a little bit of noise reduction to your images sometimes. Depends on the style you want, but this will add a real smoothness to the image. Maybe it will be very subtle, but if I turn it on, well, it's off now, turn it back on, you might be able to see a little difference there, and it will just slightly smooth it out and can look really nice, especially if you're working with JPEGs or low quality images. Definitely try that. But we are about good. I think that's really close to her image, and I'll just leave it there, guys. I'll try to keep these tutorials as short as possible. So just a unique thing about this edit is, the vibrance. So we wanted a bright, vibrant look to the image. That's why we brought that up. Shadows comes all the way up because we want this bright, vibrant feeling to the image. But our image would be too bright if we left the highlights and whites up. So we dropped those. Brought up the blacks because we don't want harsh blacks. We're going for the bright, vibrant look. But we keep them down a little, just until it looks natural in those dark areas, doesn't look too bright. What's unique about this one is we didn't use the curves because we don't have much contrast, and we just dropped the white point here, and that's what gives that matte sort of flatness, especially to the whites and highlights. And yeah, we shifted the reds very far towards the purples, and yeah, so that could make your skin tones look really unnatural, like, because you'll start to get purple skin tones. But the reason it works in this image is because we've added purple into the highlights. So the entire image, because this image is all highlights, has become more purple. And because we shift this a little towards purple, it's still an okay ratio to the rest of the image. Hopefully that makes sense. So you can get away with purple skin tones if the rest of your image has a purple cast to it, because it won't look unnatural compared to the rest of your image. Hopefully you guys understand that. Okay, yeah, I'll just leave it there, guys. Yeah, noise reduction to smooth out that image. And yeah, we got a bit of purple in the shadows there, but this image pretty much has no shadows in it, so that you won't notice a big difference. In a different image, you will notice that quite a bit. And yeah, I'll just leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's just hit the before, so reset. That's before the edit, and that is after. Hope you like that tutorial, guys. So comment down below who you guys want to see, because what I do is I go through all the comments, I read them all, and I reach out to them on Instagram, ask them to send in a photo, and then do a tutorial on them. So really helps me if you guys comment down in the description who you guys want to see on this channel. And if you're interested in video Luts, check out maartenschrader.com. I don't really post that on YouTube yet, but yeah, so video content over there if you're interested in Luts and color grading. If you're interested in her presets or her course, link down in the description, guys. Interested in my presets, link down in the description. Tons of awesome feedback on them so far. Yeah, really blown away by that. And yeah, comment down below, guys, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next one.